So I thought, if you wouldn't mind, I thought we'd start with the You Got This cards. Have you seen these
I
before?
haven't, I don't think.
Fantastic. So I'm already like putting you on the spot. Totally deviating from the script already, but
That's okay, go for it.
So these cards, if you don't know, so one of my guests I'm doing these with, and they were given to me by a group of students who I was working with when I was doing maternity contracts. So I'm basically just going to shuffle them. And when you are ready, just tell me when to stop and I'll just take the top card and we'll just see what comes up. I love
That's
it.
fine.
I love it. This kind of feeds into what we were just talking about, actually. So the card that's come up for you is We Only Regret the Chances We Didn't Take.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. 100%, because I think especially now, like you've said, what we've been speaking about, that I've realised just because of what I have a history of, not history of, but my past, I was in a relationship for a long time. So that when that ended, that sort of brought me into where I am now with this. I realised that I didn't take lots of opportunities. I missed so many opportunities, and like now, this is like, okay, so you can't do that anymore. Even if it leads you into a situation that you're absolutely terrified or you just don't know what might happen, at least you're not going to regret it. And I can stop it if I
Exactly.
need to.
Yeah, exactly. And you're very open on your Insta page about the challenges that you faced and how you have taken back your power and you are embracing the unknown and the fact that you want to use your experience to support other women find their sort of voice, I guess.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about sort of how you started to find your voice as an empowerment coach?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be good work. I'll put a bit of groundwork to all of this.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I've come from, my background is I come from a single parent family. We didn't have much, quite poor and everything. So we sort of struggled. We didn't have any, I didn't aspire to be anything. I had an idea that it would be, I liked acting and things like that, but I didn't
Yeah,
think of, oh, I love this thing. I can actually make it happen. I sort of just went with life, and I was around people that didn't really have much going for them. It was in a bit of a community, a poor community that didn't really have, people weren't doing much. And I
mm,
had an older sister. My sister, straight away, she was off. She's a dancer. So she went off and she sort of experienced the world. And I stayed at home and I just didn't. And I got into a relationship when I was 14. And I was with that person right up until being 33. And I had children with that person. It's only when the relationship broke down, it wasn't, I think I clung on to it because I'd not had a father myself growing up
mm,
in my life. And so I clung on to this person because it was the first time that I'd really had that love of I think a man. I had my
yeah,
granddad, but it wasn't like this person that was a constant, that was there for me, help looking after me, supporting me, not just me, but also, doing it together. And just that type of relationship with a male, I'd not had that. So I clung on to it. And even though it wasn't the best, there were times when it was toxic. Probably should have ended it a long time ago, but that's what happened. I don't regret it. It just, that's what I chose at that time, and that's okay. It's brought me to where I am now. And so coming out of that, when it did end, and I knew it was going to end for a long time because I knew I couldn't. It wasn't right. It couldn't go on like that, and it wasn't a good, wholesome relationship that I should be teaching and showing my children either. So when it did end, it came to a point where I was lost. I'd gone from being a young 14-year-old girl that already didn't know where she was going in life, didn't know what she wanted, didn't have a career path or an idea of what was out there in the world. And I didn't really have a drive to find that until that happened. And then that was thrown out into the open, like, okay, you're in the middle of this no man's land now. You need to find who you are, what you want. And I didn't know that I was finding that at the time, but I just knew that I didn't know who I was. And so I went on this big search for myself to know, just to understand what life was for me, who I was. I didn't really know who I was. I was very much sitting on the fence in the relationship, just sort of went along with whatever anybody else said, what anybody else did. And I didn't really make the decisions for myself, for my life, and to help it progress. So when that relationship ended, it was like, you're on your own now. You've got to make the choice because nobody else is going to guide you. It's up to you. And so I had
mm,
these 4 children. Um,
wow,
I had to make these decisions for. I had myself. I thought, well, I'm trying to create a life for you, but I don't even know about my own life here. So I had to, and it's from, I went back into acting then. I didn't go back. I chose, I'd always loved acting, but I'd never ever made a decision to actually go after it. And I did. And I started on my acting journey there. And
Yeah.
that's where it sort of developed into where I am now. It sort of progressed slowly. I started to build different things in, and it sort of brought me to where I am now to help other women, because I thought, wow, if you've been through all of this yourself, there is loads of women, lots of women out there that also need that support too.
Yeah. How incredible that being on the stage, sort
It,
of acting and becoming different characters and trying out their lives and walking in their shoes would have helped you discover
yeah,
what you wanted to do. Isn't that incredible?
it's amazing to think that I was quite shy. As a child, I was really, really shy. Didn't really know what to say. Didn't know how
Yeah.
to conversations and things like that. And I was absolutely petrified of it. Was I did a degree, is what I did, a drama degree.
Mm.
And I was absolutely petrified of going and performing and going. And I thought, but this is the only thing that you want to do. This is the only thing
Yeah.
that I know, 100% in my soul, that I want to do this. So I hadn't. It was like I had no other option but to go down this path. It really did open up a whole new world of being these characters, really feeling them as well, starting to understand feelings and how they, when you
Yeah.
pick apart the character and their emotional state that they're going through. And it's obviously helped me to tap into my own emotions of the characters. Well,
Mm.
you're the character of your life, so how do you tap into your own emotions?
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm just thinking about all of those children in school who perhaps are struggling with a direction, with finding a path that feels right for them. They may be in a similar situation to you, not necessarily have that sort of guiding or that guidance from their parents or, their friends, their community. And why it's so important to have dance, drama, music, the arts within education, because it can often just plant that seed, can't it?
It's crucial. I don't know what people are thinking, that to think that it's not okay to have the performing arts in schools available to every child that needs to have them, because it's an outlet for them. It helps them to understand themselves, not just to perform and act and do all these things. It brings it back to themselves, and you help to open up your own can of worms and
Yeah.
your the dynamics within you and in your own life, and compare
Yes.
to these characters. And I think it allows them to see that there are other ways, there are similarities. You're not this person, an alien, you're not odd or weird.
Yeah.
There's a range of characters out there, and you're included, you're not excluded from that. You're part of this thing that's going on in life.
Oh my gosh, that's like it's like mic drop. It's like that is the message, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know, and it's amazing now how you have been able to tap into those emotions and understand your experience to the point now where you want to share that with women, your clients. So how has creativity sort of informed your coaching program then and how you work with clients?
I think what I do is I'm a bit of a daydreamer. I daydream all of the time, and sit I could probably sit for hours and just think in my head and dream about what's going on. So I think that's one of the big parts for me, is to use your visualization, just to, maybe you're not, people think that they're not creative and they say, oh, I'm not very creative, but they are. Everybody is creative in their own, and it might not be the dancing or singing or acting. It might be some other form, cooking, or I don't know, everything
Anything,
is creative.
everything and anything.
Yeah. And I think it's learning them, or not even learning them, but just maybe helping them to tap into their own ability to visualize and see things bigger than what they are. That, because sometimes you get caught up in such a small world, your own little bubble of what's going on, and it becomes very stifling, doesn't it? Where you go, oh gosh,
It
I can't
does.
get out of this. But when you start to visualize and see things and work outside of your own sort of energy, it opens your mind up to what is possible, what really, really is possible out there.
Yeah. And you strike me as the sort of person who's very intuitive,
Yeah, yeah.
working with the energies that we have. Does that sort of inform as well a lot of your approach as well.
Yeah, I think that I do feel I'm open with everybody. I think I'm very open to people, and I always try to. I don't try to. I think I always see the nicer. I always see that somebody's got, even when there maybe people said that they've done bad or they're not a nice person. I think, okay, let me have a chat with them, and I always see that there's a root cause of it, or there's something in there that's very beautiful. It's just that life or whatever's happened, situations has put this, I don't know, this character on top of them, so they're not
Yeah.
their real. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of been dampened down by all of the things that happen within life that
Yeah.
they can't see the true core of themselves. And I think that when you're not even when if you're just doing anything that's maybe bad, but just when you've been in relationships or any part of life, that all of these things pile on top, so you're not able to see the root of yourself. It gets put down into the mud, into sort of into the basement of your
Yeah.
little house that is yourself.
Yeah, I love that. I love that sort of analogy and that visualization. And I suppose, did you, when you were in that relationship, did you recognize the fact that you'd put your needs at the bottom of the pile, or were you just so in it that you couldn't see? Because I think that's so common, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I was just in it. I didn't see. I knew that I wasn't. You see, because I felt loved, and I was very much loved. I'd ignored the other parts that weren't great, and I'd also not had. I'd been raised in like a one parent family, so I'd not had that mum and dad situation and this little unit, and I clung on to that with all that I had, because it was something that I deeply wanted to have. It, I sort of ignored the things that weren't great because that was the good thing. But didn't really have, I didn't see, I don't think I saw what I was doing to myself and how it was actually really damaging for me as a just a human, a woman, a mother. It wasn't every aspect of me. It was damaging me, and I didn't see it.
And the thing is as well, from, like you said earlier, when you're 14, 15, you have no real life experience at that point. So you are being shaped by relationships and the people around you. And then when you become a mum, you are then changed again and again and again by this process of bringing somebody into the world. And so it sounds to me like you just had no idea of who Nikki was. You were just somebody that everybody had created almost
Yeah,
in
it,
their own image.
yeah, 100%. Because because I'd been really quiet and very shy and not really. I'd not spoken out about what I thought or how I felt or what I wanted in life. I went along with everything. I literally did what everybody else was doing with my friends. I would go and do whatever they wanted to do with my boyfriend that I had at the time. I just did whatever, went through whatever he was doing. And I didn't even ignore. I just didn't know. Just did not
Yeah.
know myself or who I was, what I wanted, and it just led me down somebody else's route. And then it was only till the end that you're like, okay, this isn't for me. What am I going to do?
And when you actually made that decision, can you describe that moment to me when you realized that you were going to take the road less traveled?
It was. I felt like a fraudster. I felt like, do I belong here? Like, I know that everybody feels like they have a little bit of imposter syndrome now and again, but I felt like more, not even a fraudster, but more. It felt right. It felt right. I think, but because I was with people and I was starting to go into places and be around things that I'd only didn't think that I'd belonged before. I didn't think that I'd
Yes.
belonged there. And it felt right, but just like, gosh, do you belong here? Are you here?
Yeah.
But once we got into those places, it was like, it just felt like this is what you are. These are your people. These are your tribe. This is for you. And
Mm.
it, it was it was like an unearthing and a discovery that think, wow, what's this? Where am I going? It's something that I didn't expect, didn't think that I could, but it felt right. It did feel very much that it's okay. This
Mm.
is me.
And you're bringing your hands up to your chest as well. And this idea of feeling safe and secure and, moving through the world from a place of belonging is so important. And obviously when you're working with your clients, they don't know where they belong and how they can, find their place and find their voice. So, you know, talk to me talk to me about once you've kind of done your visualization with them and helped them sort of see the benefits of that, see the benefits of thinking outside of what they know already. What's the next step? How do you then take them to the next step?
I like to write, and I didn't discover writing until I think I've always done a little bit of writing here and there, but not really understood that look what you're doing. This is helping your soul here. And so when my relationship did break down, I did start to journal. And I didn't see it as journal. I was just writing at the time. So my journaling might just be writing. It might be I've turned them into little bloggy type things because
Yeah.
some of them are quite interesting. But writing letters, I wrote a letter to my ex-partner. And because I had
Did
so
you?
much, I did, yeah, so much to say to him. And I don't know how long it was very long. And I wanted
Was it 18 pages front and back?
it was a podcast. I wrote these letters to him, and I didn't. It wasn't. It was just something that I did, and I hadn't read about it or taken sort of a lead from anywhere else. It's just something that I knew I needed to get it out of my head. It was the only way that I could do it. And so I wrote these letters to him, and I'd never sent them off, but I read them out loud, and I remember reading them when I was absolutely in bits, crying my eyes out, and all the ugliness that came out of me, like full on swearing, everything that I felt, I got them out in this letter. And so I think that's what I use with the women that I work with.
Yes.
Just write everything, get it out of your head, don't hold back, get out, but just not to give to them or not to give to, it's not necessarily your ex-partner, it might be whatever it is in life, might be just saying it to the universe even.
Yes. Yeah.
All these things that have maybe held you back or stopped you or anything at all, but just to write. And I think writing it and getting it out of your head and to actually hearing it, hearing what your thoughts are saying, what's been internalized maybe for such a long time, just to have it out there. And I think it is so empowering to when you read it and you hear what your soul's really saying.
Absolutely. And I suppose, for those people who are listening, if you do find yourself, in a similar situation, or not necessarily in a situation where you're coming out of a relationship, but you feel stuck
You do.
and you're not sure which way to go, try the visualizations and this idea of writing and journaling and writing the letter. I love that, to whatever is causing you to feel like you're stuck, because hearing what you're saying is so important. And I suppose that's why people choose to work with people like you, coaches, because you become that soundboard, don't you? And do you sort of help people organize then and structure the next part of that? So after writing, a letter, for example, I mean, do you rip it up? Do you put it somewhere safe? Does that just go in the little tool bag at the back and you bring it out every now and again just to kind of remind yourself of where you've been and where you're going?
I would suggest to rip it up. To rip it up into a tiny pieces and just throw it away. Just get it out so you've got it out and now you can sort of rip it and say that's not gonna happen anymore. That's how you
Mhm.
felt, but now you're gonna replace all of those thoughts, all of those feelings, try to replace it with something that can actually help you make progress in your life. So you can
Mm.
move forward so you're not gonna be stuck. Because it's okay having these things, but you need to do something with it. Why and just looking at why. Why do you feel like that? What is it that's causing you to feel like that? And how can you address those issues or whatever it might be
Mm.
in your life? How can you help those look at those things and work them to your advantage so it doesn't put a barrier in front of you? Because I think we hold on to so many things and it's easy for us to say, oh, I can't do that, or it's because of this, that's happened. I can't because it's so easy and it's valid that you say that because it's a mission and it's a challenge and it feels like you're doing having to hurdle over
Yeah.
everything sometimes. But sometimes you don't have to hurdle. Sometimes there is a way around it. But it's just seeing it. When you're stuck in the thick of it, you can't always see it. It seems like you've got to break through this brick wall, but there
Yeah.
are usually ways that you can go around it, over it. There's usually a way. Somebody's usually done it before, so you can pick up on what other people have done. How was that person got there? What did they? I mean, what do you know? already that you can use to help you move forward. It's
Yeah.
looking at different avenues to go down instead of just thinking that that's it, that's caused that, and that's it, it's blocked. Yeah,
And I guess with you taking the leap of faith and investing in yourself, going to the acting classes and start performing, I suppose, would you be encouraging your clients as well to maybe try a creative outlet as
100%.
well? Obviously, it wouldn't necessarily have to be performing, but there's so many um different arts and crafts and classes that people can go to if if the price point works and all those things. But I suppose that would be a great way to start as well, wouldn't it?
Oh, it's amazing. I actually do. There's a friend of mine that she teaches art. uh, Art, she said it's not art therapy, it's sort of is art therapy because therapy
Mm,
is therapeutic, isn't it, arts? But she does
yeah.
it. And I did a little class with her. I'm not really a painter myself. I do a little bit journaling, writing and things like that. But I did the art class with her, and just painting, even though I'm not great at it, it was just for beginners. But that's what she did, is she helped people, beginner painters, but it just helps you to unlock yourself. It stops you from thinking of the outside noise when you start to do something creative. And it could be painting, it might be cooking. Maybe you're a great cook, maybe you're not even a great cook, but you just enjoy the process of cooking and it is very therapeutic for you. It might just be, it could be maybe singing, dancing, acting,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. There are so many creative things, and everybody's creative in some way. You don't realize it, but it's just tapping into those things. Because when you work with people, you can start to, and you speak with them, you can start to get a feel for, okay. And when they start unraveling a little bit, you start to tap into, okay, well, they're good at this. They're really good at this. You can start to play on that and start to pull that out of them and help them to use that as their creative outlet.
I think very often when I'm speaking to people about creativity and whether or not they feel creative, they often cite school and being told that they're not creative as a point in time where they decided not to pursue a creative career, or they sort of hid their creativity away because it was something that was shamed, or yeah, they were embarrassed by it, or they just didn't think that it was frivolous. I mean, Trisha Duffy and I talk about this on another episode, and it's such a shame that as adults we get to a certain point in our life when we remember who we are and the power of creativity. And often that is the way through or around or over those barriers that you've just been talking about. I mean, when you go to your acting classes, are there people there as well that you're talking to about what you're doing and about being together in this sort of like creative environment?
Yeah, I haven't, as I'll tell you, I haven't been to my acting classes for a little while yet because I've just been so focused on this. But when you go there, that's what you do. I did speak to people about this. Just coming back to people being told at school as well, not that they're not creative. That puts it sort of locks the door, doesn't it, to your
It
creativity?
does.
Like, okay, I'm not creative. So everything else could be classed as is creative, is not for me because I'm not creative. And it sort of says to you that you're not, but you are in so many ways. And it could be something else. And I'm just going to, just off the top of my head, my mum, if for an example, she is a big one that says, oh, I can't do this, but she's really good at crosswords and she's very good.
Yes.
Yeah, and I said, that's mum, that's all creative as well, because you start having to use your imagination to think. It's just
Yes.
creative. And I think that's what it is. It's just tuning into, and she loves them, tapping into your own little bits of creativity, because everything is creative.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to be on my phone so much because, I mean, these little things are a distraction, aren't they? And we'll talk about that in a moment. But I think recently I posted a video of me dancing, and I was really nervous about posting that because I get embarrassed. It's not something I'm trying to embrace a little bit of my authenticity. It seems that that's what I'm talking about on the podcast. But what I really wanted to do was I wanted to try and edit the video in a way that I'd not done before. So that process in itself, I was trying to tap into my sort of creativity a little bit and kind of put it in with the music and everything like that. So that was really the purpose of it, to just try something new and develop new skills. But, how do you talk to your clients about switching off, getting out of their head, getting off their phone, and why that is so important because it's such a distraction.
Oh gosh, it is. Even when I know, like you said there, even when you're trying to do something that's creative and it does require your phone, it's putting boundaries there. just letting them know, just think about it, just monitor over the day is a good thing to do, just to monitor how long you've been on your phone, check. At the end of the day, it tells you, doesn't it,
Yeah.
how you've been on socials and things like that, how long you've been on your messages. Just have a little look at that, just so you're aware of how long you really are on it, not just what's in your head, because hours go by and you've been scrolling, not doing
Yeah.
anything, or you've been messaging somebody and it's been hours because you've messaged don't know how many people at one time, but just to check so you're aware of how long you are on it, and then make time in the day actively that you are going to, you don't have to turn it off, just put it on silent, put it in a different room, just to be away from it. And it might be when you maybe cooking your dinner, it might be an hour when you go in the bath, or you just on you, maybe you do a morning routine. Ideally, you would do it in the morning where you don't look at your phone for the first hour, just so you're in your own headspace. You can think a little bit without it being influenced by everything that's going on in the outside world.
Yeah.
Having that time, it's so important to think for yourself and
Yeah. I
to
think that's
use
a
your own
really good tip.
thoughts. Yeah,
Yeah. I think that's a really, really good tip because often in the morning we are maybe preparing for work, we're getting the children ready, but almost like setting yourself intentions for the day. How do you want to show up in the world on Monday?
yes,
And
exactly.
you're right, we can't do that if we are bombarded with what everyone else has been up to over the weekend when we hear about the atrocities in the news. So it's so affecting.
It is, and it's just it sits with you. You think it's not having an effect, but it goes all into your subconscious mind, doesn't it? And it's feeding you your thoughts, and especially if it's a negative something in the morning. You're listening to the news, and you get up and you look at your phone and you're scrolling, and it's something negative. That's setting you up for the day to have that in the back of your mind.
Yeah. And especially when you're trying to break out of maybe negative patterns, and reset boundaries. I've loved our conversation so far.
It's been a really, I really love this. It's actually, it's awoken a little bit of emotion inside me. When we've got speaking about creativity and things like that, and
Yeah,
it just made me, yeah, it's made me think like on a bit of more of an emotional level. I didn't
really.
know I didn't really know what to expect, obviously, when I was coming on here, but
Yeah,
it's
of
just like,
course.
right, it touched me a little bit of my core here a little bit, because I'm speaking about
Really?
creative stuff. Yeah, I think it's because the acting and performing is such a big thing for me, and I don't do enough right now, just again because I'm focused on other areas. It's just a reminder of how important those things are to me, how it's such on a deep level, it has an effect on me.
Yeah. And so often we get busy, don't we? I mean, you've got, how old are your children?
They're not young anymore. They're old. I think they're worse now that they're older, but it's more emotion, like mental. You need to look after them mentally. When they're younger, it's all
Oh, yeah.
physical, but older, it's right. So they're 16, doing his GCSEs. The youngest is doing his GCSEs, and then my other boy is 19. He's at college, so he's just finishing his last year at college. And then my daughter's 20. She's at university, but she's home for the summer. And then my oldest one is at home, and he works, but he's 24. So
Wow.
it's like having these strangers in your house that are grown into adults, but now have their own opinions and want to do their own thing, and have got their own
Mm,
sort of views on life and the world. And you're like,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because as kids, you just think that you know everything, and we know nothing. But it's, with children and you've obviously got one living with you, but being a mom is so all consuming, and it's easy for your own needs to drop off and make time because our priorities shift so much during the day, during the week. You've been focusing so much on, the coaching business and kind of really spending a lot of time focusing on that. So you're bound to not have the time, the energy to go out to the acting classes and,
Yeah,
but it is important. It's funny because I'm a dance and drama teacher.
my sister is as well.
Is she?
Yeah, she is.
She's based in a school, isn't she, as well?
Yeah, she's based in a school in London. I can't remember what the name of the school
Yeah,
is.
yeah. That's okay.
I went to what was it? Yes, last year we went to a thing called Drama Matters.
Oh,
In
yes.
Yeah, I think she's going again this year, but I went with her last year. But we was part of there was Box House Theatre. There was,
Okay.
I took part in it? I was like, oh my gosh, absolutely, I completely forgot. I love it. I love
Oh,
it. I was just sort of immersed in all of it. So I did
yeah.
all of the things with her.
So that's amazing. So they had, because it's Tracy, isn't it?
Yeah,
Tracy Dorrington.
Dorrington, yeah.
Yeah, of Drama Matters, which is a massive Facebook group, and they're on socials as well, on Instagram as well, aren't they? But they support performing arts teachers
Yeah.
with not feeling so alone, so isolated, because so often you're one person departments and you're, going against all sorts of things within schools. We can't have the hall, you can't do this, lots of things. So yeah, it's such a small world,
It is
isn't
a,
it?
yes.
So what sorts of workshops did you do then? And what kind of really stood out for you?
That box house theatre really stood out for me. I
Mm,
was just because it's just you just came as you are. You didn't have any props or any costumes. You didn't have anything. It was just you. How they created their performances by they used their skill of drawing them, with your fingers. So they
yeah,
did it with your fingers, and they made a noise. It was like if you were doing a ball, they'd
yeah.
go, and then they'd pull it out, and then they'd start to use it, and because they'd created the drawn the actual thing, it was like
Mm,
your mind was like you could see everything that happening. So you was a
yeah,
part of it. We made ourselves into washing machines. So we got into small groups and we had to create a washing machine with all the noises and do all the
yeah,
running. It was hysterical. It was hysterical. And then a toilet that flushed. It was so funny. And then at the end there was other performances and things like that there. But we
yeah.
again they did a performance for everybody. But they did I think it was they did was it the Goldilocks and the Three Bears? They did a sort of a mixture of three separate performances, and I think they did Viking ship, but they sort of integrated every performance with just people. And as I said, they drew a key for the Little Red Riding Hood or whatever it was. They
Mm,
drew a little key and then popped it out, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I can see what you're making here. It was
yeah.
yeah, it was really
So you
amazing.
could, I mean, could you take some of that, the elements of that, and use that in your coaching?
I didn't think about that, but
I mean,
yes,
I don't know how, but could you?
yeah, probably could because it's just again just using your visuals, isn't it? There's nothing there.
Yeah,
There's nothing you can hold on to. There isn't anything you can have.
tangible.
Yeah, you've got
Yeah,
creating this in your mind, and the things that they did, it was so amazing. You just blew you away because it's just so simple, but so effective, and it
yeah,
blew your mind because like I know what you're doing. I can see what story you're trying to tell with these images that you've told us to create in our head.
yeah.
It was wonderful. You could definitely use. I'll have to think about that one.
Yes. Let us know. Because you could draw, projects, you could draw objects, you could draw
Yeah.
people.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm, there's
And to
so
sort
many
of see,
things.
yeah, the real what it could actually be. It's
Yeah.
not just in your head. You can actually draw it out in your mind.
And I think, being open-minded to go to an event like that, and use all of those experiences, the people that you meet, the things that you see and hear and feel, and bringing them back to your coaching, is so exciting. And what is because I know you've taken a little bit of time to sort of realign
Yeah.
with what you wanted to do, because you were predominantly focusing on supporting women who were going through a breakup and sort of rediscovering themselves. But now you are absolutely focusing on just of supporting women find themselves. Can you visualize and see where it's going?
So I think that the heartbreak thing was more, I knew that I wanted to help women because I knew that from a place of where I've been, and I know how much it had sort of just stopped me in my tracks and prevented me from really progressing with myself. I thought that I could help other women, but I didn't realize that that's just one part where women get stuck. That's one
Yeah,
part that might prevent them from progressing. But I can see myself now working with women. I definitely would like to have like a group with them, maybe doing speaking with women as well, to go out and actually speak with women because I do like to have a in-person connection with people. I like to feel people's energies and things like that. I love online, but because I feel like this is like part of the creativity, isn't it? When you're online creating things. So I think that's why it's sort of filled in a little bit of a gap as well for me for the performance thing because it
yeah,
is here. But I definitely want to. build a stronger network of women that can support each other and, you know, can really champion and shout for each other, just to give that encouragement and to empower, because you just sometimes you just don't see it, do you? I know I didn't see it myself. You just do not see the potential that is in everyone, everyone, not
Mm.
just those that are doing great things, the ones that haven't tapped into it yet also.
Yeah. And I guess, you'd be almost finding charities to work with as well,
Definitely.
you know, that support women and create space for women who are isolated, who are, in a place of feeling lost, frightened. There's so many women who experience domestic abuse. I mean, I don't even know what the statistics are, but who are sort of trying to escape situations, circumstances, knowing that somebody like you is there to hear them and to see them, I think, because, your ability to listen and to sort of bring your experience to the forefront as well, it'll help them to see themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you can just at something a little, it only has to be a tiny little thing that, like, I can sort of get where you're coming from. I think that can be a massive help, that to know that you're not, it's not, you're not, you, it's not just you. It's not just you that's had this horrible experience or having this particular time. It's you're connected with, we're all connected here. And that I am part of a group as well that does work with women that has have been through domestic abuse and violence. So again, it's, I haven't, I think I've gone live on their page. So we've had a little bit of a chat with the lady that runs that group. So I've been live on her page.
Brilliant.
Um, but it is looking, and I'm in the process now of seeking out those different charities that I can work with. I know there's a one that's local to me. I'm up in Yorkshire, so I'm looking at ones that are local to me that I can actually go out maybe and speak to. Obviously, do things online. I would like to just go in, get in there, and even just speak to the women,
Yeah.
just to sort of give them some hope as well, because it can feel kind of hopeless when you're in those situations.
Yeah, definitely. If there are, people listening who work for those charities or who are based in Yorkshire who would, like to work with you, how do people get hold of you?
So I know my name is Nicola underscore the Heart Healer on Instagram.
Yeah,
It's not just for matters of the heart, it's for, yeah, for women, just to sort of help women rise and empower them. So you can find me on Instagram. I do have I was going to say a book. It's not a book. It's
not yet.
not yet. It's a group called Wonderful Women on Facebook that I
Oh,
just recently started. Again, I started with helping women heal from heartbreak, but do you know, in just something like, it's not just helping women heal from heartbreak; it's something else. So it's sort of, I've just started to get it going again now, because I know
mm,
it's for women. It's for these
yeah,
wonderful women they're all wonderful out there. So there's a group, and I am on Facebook as well. So Nicola Fisher on Facebook.
brilliant.
So those are the places that you can find me. I'm hanging around on socials. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, you're saying that, it's not just working with women with heartbreak, but actually it's not just about women who have gone through a relationship breakdown. Heartbreak can be redundancy. Heartbreak can be losing a loved one. Heartbreak can be miscarriage. Heartbreak can be absolutely anything that you feel is
That's it. Yeah.
broken part of you, so you're really sort of opening things up.
Yeah.
And it's about identifying what that heartbreak is for that person.
It is. Everybody's unique and got their own experiences, don't they, in life? And sometimes it is. That's right. What might be difficult for you to understand, for myself, but I think I'm pretty open. I'm pretty good at connecting with people. I think that's the good thing. I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but no,
No,
I
go
just
for it.
I think, like, yeah, just I think I understand. I understand how I can connect and sympathise and empathise with people, what they're going through. It's just life, isn't it? It can be so, so challenging, and just to provide somebody a little bit of sort of security that there is a future. You know what I mean? It's not, yes, it's difficult now, and yeah, you might have to go through the mud with this and really sort of work through it and process it all, but there is hope there. There is
Okay.
something more beautiful. There is something within it all. As much as it's difficult and it's hard and you don't want to do it, you want to stop there's going to be an end to this, and there is something that you can use that hardship and roll it into something amazing to take you forward in your own life.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Nicola. It's been amazing.